Gotta unmute it. We can't hear a thing.
Bill's in the restroom. We're having to fix it.
Testing. Can you hear me now?
Just a little bit.
Way to go, Ross. Testing. Can you hear me now?
It's
We
a
can hear
little
Testing.
bit.
1, 2, 3.
Sounds good out here in the cheap seats.
All right. So we need the approval for the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the last meeting minutes? Gil, and I saw Ross. Sorry, there's a bunch of hands that went up. Any corrections or any, oh, we're already doing the vote. Okay. All in favor, please raise your hands. Any opposed? No waving, just hands. Thank you, Mike. All right, thank you very much. Next item is new members. So I'll have Paul come up and
Let's see who we've got here today. Scott, who do we start off with? Daniel Burkhardt, KM4FYD. He's got his technician's license. Are you here, Daniel, or are you on Zoom? I don't see any hands up here, and I don't hear anything on Zoom. Next. Devin Hamilton, N7IQZ.
Yes, sir. Here present on the Zoom.
Devin, why don't you give us a few words about yourself and what you're doing and why you're interested in Mike and Key?
Sure, absolutely. Right off the hop, I would say that that Dean has a lot to do with that. N7DX, from spending a lot of time on radio with him. I came up and attended field day with the club, this most recent summer field day, and learned a lot and had a lot of fun. Stepping back from that, I've been a ham for about 3 years. I did my technician and then my general 2 weeks later. I was a GMRS operator for quite a while before that. And I'm third generation ham. My grandfather and my father were both hams. In fact, my call sign was my dad's call sign. He was Bill Hamilton, down around the Olympia area for years and years. I primarily really enjoy radio on the 2-meter side of things because I do communication support for American Rally Association Stage Rally. And so I've got a vehicle built out for that. And for the Olympus Rally organization based out of Shelton, Washington, I'm their chief of communications. And then for the Oregon Trail organization, I'm a comms helper and typically a stage captain volunteer. So I use radio quite a bit for that, and have also taught a lot of people about being a rally ham and what that means and what's required for that. My interest in the club is on the constant quest for knowledge. I have found there to be an amazing concentration of really smart folks that have been doing radio for a long time. And because I'm kind of a late bloomer, I'm 51 years old, just for personal interest. I am kind of rapidly acquiring a lot of knowledge about this. I used to travel quite a bit, so I didn't have a lot of time for extracurricular stuff in my life because I was on airplanes a lot. And so I'm kind of playing catch up in that regard as I stopped traveling here about 5 or 6 years ago. And so I teach ham radio as a licensed potential for GMRS operators. And I've held classes for the last couple of years, typically over on the East Tiger Mountain GMRS repeater, part of the CTAC Repeater Association. And we've got, I think, somewhere around 47 technician graduates, and I want to say 21 or 22 general graduates, and I think we're up to 8 amateur extras, which is just kind of blows me away. So I really kind of jumped both feet in, and as I looked around the area, because I live in Redmond, Washington, this club had a lot of interest for me, and so I paid my dues and signed up, and really looking forward to what I can learn as I meet new people within the group.
Wow. Anybody have any questions for Devin here in the group or on Zoom?
I'm speaking for Mike Dinkelman. That sounds like a really, really good article you can put in for the newsletter. So that would,
Cool.
I'm now instituting a requirement for new members.
I'd be happy to do that.
That's a very impressive resume. I'll tell you that. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
You have something on there about renewable energy. Having had a company down in California that made PEM membrane hydrogen. What you doing?
Cool. I stepped away from a 23-year career in data storage and went immediately back to school at Solar Energy International out of Paonia, Colorado. And I went through all their 100 level through 300 level courses and got some certs, and then hung up my own shingle as an LLC, where I do consulting for residential alternative energy, primarily grid-tied solar, but also with an emphasis on battery backup systems or off-grid. And I've got, let's call it sort of a minor in wind energy. So solar and wind are the two areas of expertise that I have there. Solar specifically is where I work my consulting business.
So you'd be able to recommend to us what kind of a solar battery setup we would need for field day.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got a lot of the formulaic work out of the way and a lot of the tools in place to run those calculations quickly, taking into account a lot of different variables and factors, and spit out a reliable number with a significant margin.
Well, since we're up at Fort Funston, usually you can also say the effect of salt air on solar batteries, and might be another article.
That's cool. Yeah, the tricky part is figuring out, based on location, what the insolation is going to be in terms of actual access to sky. The angles are always pretty simple, but then it's just a matter of how much more panel real estate do you need to put out there on a hazy day versus a bright sunny day.
Well, I figured out, I worked in some of that, and the biggest problem we had was seagull shit.
Sure.
It would corrode the ceiling around the panels, and then the solar cells would die, and you couldn't keep the seagulls off them. No,
absolutely. Yeah. And there isn't enough washdown system in the world that would keep that clean enough. And their output is pretty darn caustic for sure.
Okay. Thank you very much. Scott, who's next?
Thank you.
We have Nathan Leonard, KK7LNI. Nathan, are you in the room here or on Zoom? I don't see any hands in the room, and I don't hear anything on Zoom. Next is On Lee, N7ANH. On, are you in the room or on Zoom? Once again, no hands have raised and nothing from Zoom. Next is Jody Hurd, KK7PH. LT. Jody, in the room or on Zoom? No hands have raised, nothing on Zoom. Gary? No, that's not match. Oh, okay. Gary Matlin. Gary Matlin, sorry.
Jerry.
Jerry? Well, that tells me how I. Are you here or on Zoom? Well, not that. Robert Martin. Robert, are you on Zoom? Nothing. Pardon me? What do we do about it? I've got Scott. I've got a Ronald Schwartz. No. Okay. How about a Brian Spindor? Nope. Ah, we're done. Okay, we have two. Yeah. So Scott, can you set that up to click on the boxes? He's clicking the boxes to turn them. Gary, are you online on Zoom? We only have one. Devin, yeah. Okay. Anyone here in the room have anything to say about Devin? Ross?
Devin is highly recommend him. He's going to be an asset.
Okay. Thank you, Ross. Anybody on Zoom have anything to say about Devin? Call for the vote. Everyone in favor of Devin becoming a member? Scott, do you want to count them? No. That looks good. That's it. Okay. And we click Devin back on and we'll welcome him to the club. Now he's got to unclick all the boxes. Okay, Devin, welcome to the club.
Hey, thank you very much. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. That's outstanding. I was kind of hanging out on hold there, and I figured the vote was going on there.
Okay, I would like to introduce you to Scott. Scott's our treasurer. He takes care of collecting dues.
All right.
Not that we ask about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Paul. Next up is Treasurer Scott. You're up.
Devin, I just sent you a link on a chat for the dues. Other than that, I started out the beginning of the month with sending out emails to 14 individuals to remind them about the dues. And I'm down to 9. So if you have one of those emails and have not paid, please pay. And our membership status is up to 307, minus Devin, who just been added. So that'd be 308. So any questions? All right, thanks. Sure, that'd be a separate subject.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. Any other club officers need to report? Steve, radio officer, come on up.
Good morning. A couple weeks ago, myself and Brendan Burgett and Dan, our dean, went up to the radio site and we looked at a couple of things. We did some measurements again, and so it was a very productive time up there for us. I have some stuff I will write up for Mike, just letting people know. I have 4 projects lined up for next year's tower work. In brief, we're going to remove unused coax cable from the tower. We're going to paint the top front of the comm shed that we are residing in. We're going to replace guy wires, and we're going to clean the inside of the tower and the inside of the shelter up there. So those are the 4 projects we have. The guy wires, we're going to do a couple of the ones this year, or a couple of the ones next year. We're going to take a very critical approach at this since we are really running with a lot of high winds and a unique setup. So we'll be working on that, and I'll provide more dates and times when we have times for a couple of work parties. But that's what the plan is for 4 work parties for next year at some point in time. That's it. Everything else, as far as the antenna and everything, or the repeaters, seems to be working okay. Yes. Okay, so I heard about one of those. I haven't heard anything more, so people need to let me know. If we are experiencing any interference, someone needs to let the radio officer know. My email address is in the relay. Just go ahead, let me know. I can also be reached by phone if it is a critical issue. Reach out to me by phone. My information is in the relay. And the best thing to do for anything like that is do not ignore the person. Do not feed the monster. Just leave him alone. Let him spout off. Ignore him. That's it. If it becomes an issue, myself or the controller operators can take action. Okay. Oh, this was on 220? Okay. Okay. All right. So it can be, you know, it, correct. So I need to, unless people tell me about it, I cannot take any action or do anything about it. The last I heard was before the club picnic was the last time I'd heard anything. I hadn't heard anything recently. So yeah, if you can, that's great. Um, any discussion about tracking or anything like that is not covered on the repeater at all. We're not talking about anything like that. If there's something like that, they'll be held between myself and the control operators. We'll figure that out. Okay, so date, time, frequencies, all that type of stuff is things that need to be sent to me and the control operators. Send it to me. I'll go ahead and get it to the control operators, and we'll go ahead and see what we want to do on that. Okay? Any other questions or issues? Yes. For the work parties, we're going to go ahead and get as many people as we can. Mini hands will make light work, especially the removal of coax and then the guy wires. We'll probably do a couple on the first time we're up there. We might do multiple trips for the guy wires up there. It's a bit of a rough drive up, so it would need to be a truck at least, or my Subaru makes it up there just fine. If it's a smaller car, would not work. We don't want a lot of people going up, so we'd basically be doing a carpool type of thing like this. The only downside to that is if you are parking at the trailhead, you have to have a Discover Pass because it is a park. So, but when we get closer, we'll figure out how many people are going up and we'll get a carpool going up so that we're not taking 14 cars up there. There's just not enough space for that type of stuff. It'll be next year, probably once we get probably March, April. Again, it will really depend on what the conditions look like up there. We'll probably do a trip up initially beforehand to make sure that the road conditions are good. Depending on the weather, it can really cause a lot of havoc to the roads. That tower is about 40 feet. It's guyed multiple times. We've got probably about 4 or 5 guys to each of the towers up there, and we've got 2 towers up there. It's just different because we don't have the length that we'd require normally for a 40-foot tower guide in a backyard. So we're doing a lot of different calculations on that. So anything else? Yes, Hal. No. Turn that over to Hal.
I was just going to mention that the configuration up there is a communication shack, which is 12 by 8 or something, a little bit, maybe a little smaller than that, 12 by 6. Anyway, 8 by 6, 10 by 6, something small. And the towers are one on each side of it. There are no guy wires or anything to go to the ground. They all go back to the building. Towers are in cement. And so it's a kind of a different configuration. We've had pictures available, and Steve can probably put some in the relay or something like that. But it's all. But the problem is the current guy wires are steel, and they've been up there for a long time. Some of them are rusted, and the connection to the metal tower and stuff is not really very well grounded. So When they move, they create a little static and that gets repeated. A little point becomes a intermod rectification point where they're meeting. So that's what we're trying to clear by putting in Philistran.
Yep.
Getting rid of that.
All right. Any other questions?
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
KJ7 CBO here. The repairs that you're planning on doing to the repeater site up there, the antenna, is that going to help to get rid of at times, especially like in the winter months, the long tail on the repeater, or the static that at times we hear on the repeater?
That's what we're just talking about here. So that's the getting rid of the steel cables is going to help eliminate that issue.
Perfect. That's what I need to know.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any other officers need to report? Come on up.
All right. So I'm the activities manager, and Ted offered to give us a presentation on antenna modeling. And if you're interested, email me. Go to QRZ and my email address is there, and send me a note. And also, if you've got any other interested topics that you might want to see a presentation on, send me those too. And because I'm always beating the bushes trying to find good presentations like we had today. So that's all I wanted to say. And like I told Ted, I'll have him send me those articles and I'll pass those on to Scott. Scott will put them on our joint drive so anybody can access them anytime in the future. So thanks a lot. Yeah. Yes, yes. The question was, are we going to discuss Winter Field Day next month? That's exactly right. That's what's on the schedule. And Gregor, November Whiskey 7 Golf Oscar, and myself have been working on a presentation that I hope you guys enjoy. And we'll just tell you a little bit more about what we're going to be doing under the club call sign. And last year was kind of the last couple of years, it's just Gregor and I were going to go up there and do that. And then it's kind of blossomed into more of a club activity. So anyhow, we're going to talk about that next week. Any other questions? All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Ross. Any standing committee reports? Anybody out there? Okay. Mr. Relay Editor, do you have anything, or? I'll repeat that. Mike says articles are nice. And Devin, as a prerequisite for membership, just we'll discuss that at the board meeting.
Fair enough.
All right. And maybe a presentation too. Ooh. Okay. Enough of that. Anything from the webmaster or? Uh-oh.
I've been making a few adjustments and tweaks to the website, updating a few things. One of them was updating the library, as our president was alluding to earlier. The library has moved to our storage unit, and I've cataloged all the items that we have. And I made new forms for checking out items from the library. And there's a PDF along with a web form. They're both available on the website. And so feel free to peruse the list and check anything out that you desire. Our process for checking out the items would fill out the form, send it to me at the library at mikeandkey.org. And then I'll bring the item to the meeting. You show up at the meeting, check it out for me, and then bring it back the following month and then put it back in the inventory. So if there's any other questions, thank you. Have a good day.
All righty. Thanks, Scott, for setting that up. And I don't know if anybody knew, but we all should thank Scott for showing up at the picnic because he was our flag to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And he's again a very patriotic shirt that he's wearing today. So, any essential committee reports? That's next. Yeah, we had a great picnic there, and I guess Hal wants to. You want to come up and say something, or? Yeah, we're ready.
Hi, I'm Hal, N7NW, and thanks everybody for coming up to the picnic. I think we had probably most people we've had at the picnic here for quite a while. Really good turnout, and hope you all had fun. Hope nobody got sick. Hope, especially Gary, who I think ate a hamburger that fell into the charcoal coals. He insisted. Okay, maybe charcoal's good for it. I think it is somewhere. Yeah. A couple of them managed to fall on the ground. I did throw them away. So, but anyway, we had great turnout, and so I appreciate everybody for coming. And a few people didn't heed my warning to take home what you brought if it didn't all get eaten. And anyway, we had to trash some stuff, but we got a lot of people to take home extra stuff. So thanks a lot. And while I'm here, I'm going to talk about fair tickets. Is Tom Sales here? The lucky winner of 2 promotional tickets, fair. If anybody else, the fair is over tomorrow. You've got today and tomorrow. I got 3 free tickets here. Does anybody want them? 1, 2, all 3. I can't even give away tickets to the fair. We got 10 this year and I got 3 left. All right. All right, that's all I got. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you, Hal. Any more event committee reports? Anything for the swap meet? I think there's a Zoom meeting on the 8th of October. Is that correct? Help. Well, I think my memory is correct on that one, but okay. Thank you, Mike. All right, we're down to old business. Any old business that we need to talk about? Going once, twice. Okay, any new business that we need to talk about? Yes, sir. I don't know what species of animal that is. Yeah. Maybe. I didn't bring it. Does anybody want to talk about it? Right. I think he needs a home. Okay. So no new business. Okay. So we're going on to good of the order. Does anybody? Oh, good of the order, Mike. You need a microphone. You don't want to
It's
come up
working.
here?
Dot it. The salmon run is running this weekend. I wouldn't normally be here. In fact, from what I understand, nobody's running mobile this weekend. So anyway, the salmon runs. So if you're interested in that, do that. Second item is, I'll make it 3 items. I'll pick up for Dawn as well. She has apples. So go back in the other room and pick up apples. And I have tomatoes. There's a box of tomatoes back there too, just picked this morning. So, and some bags. So if you want apples or tomatoes, this is the place.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, we got Dan.
I'm Dan, N7QHC, and I'm in need of new coax, 30 to 35 foot, RG8 or better. Anyone know where I can get some? Okay.
I think I probably have one that you can have.
Gregor,
Yeah.
NW7GO. Did you hear that, Dan? He says he might be able to get some.
Mail me your address.
He's having a hard time hearing, Gregor.
If my address is good on QRZ, so if you send me mail, I'll put it in the mail to you.
Is that NW7GO?
Yes.
Okay, I got his information. I saw another hand up over here for good of the order. No? So I got a few things. The repeater roundup is November 23rd and 24th. Quinton K7DRQ sent me that in the email, so he wanted me to pass that on. I think David Okrent had a class. I forget what day that was, whether it was October, November, I'm not sure. But Renton ECS has a technician class on the 9th and the 16th of November up at Renton Technical College. So that's my good of the order. Anybody else have anything out there?
Carl, I've got a little something for you.
Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, I was sent this note a few, well, what, last week I guess it was. Anyway, National Sasquatch Awareness Day Special Event Station. This is sort of kind of comical, but it's with the Radio Club of Tacoma. They are having National Sasquatch Awareness Day on October the 20th. And they have 1-by-1 call signs from October the 16th through October the 20th, and they are needing additional operators. But the fun part of it is, with this contest that they're doing, the 1-by-1 stations that for people to be able to make contact with all spell out the word Bigfoot. So if you get all of the letters for Bigfoot, you get some sort of a QSL card from them. So that might be fun for those who would like to participate.
All right, Robert, thank you. I do have one more item. I'm looking at writing a grant for the club to help with the expenses of the repeater on Gold Mountain. And if anybody has any experience doing that, I would appreciate you contacting me through my email at the it's on the newsletter or the website. And last item is visitors. Any visitors in the house right now or attending? So if you want to go ahead and you have a microphone, pass it around to all the visitors. Stand up and let us know who you are. And
James, KK7UXB, been on the repeaters and I'm taking my test today. So for extra.
I am Scott, N1AIA. Just relocated from Maine to Washington, living in Kent, and on the air right now, QRP to a dipole.
I'm Belinda Frederick, and I've been in the Washington area for 2 years, and I have my license for 30 years. I haven't done anything with it, and I trust in this, learn more. And this morning's demonstration was very, very informing. Thank you.
I could with the microphone, but I'm Jim. Good morning. Been up here for about 12 years. Heard about Mike and Key about 10 years ago. I have no class. I've worked with wires and pliers, and I drive a truck and work a CV pretty fluently. But woke up this morning. I'm like, hey, I wonder, about this club, because every once in a while it crosses my mind. But I have 2 kids. I'm always bouncing down the road around Washington, and I saw there was a meeting this morning, so I got my stuff together and came on down. Good morning.
Morning, Jim.
Wouldn't mind grabbing a few of those cashmere apples.
Any other visitors? No?
Well, any of those visitors here that are interested in joining, there's an application online, or I have a few paper copies here if you're interested in filling one out today.
Go ahead, Devin.
Hey, thank you very much. One more item for the good of the order. Thought I'd mention it because I didn't before. We are still taking volunteers for the Tour de Forest rally, which is October 5th. That's a one-day rally event, Saturday, October the 5th. Volunteers will be put in place probably about 9 in the morning and be released from duty probably around 6 p.m., about 1800. You can go to my QRZ page, and there are links to get in there for volunteering and more information out there as well. So that is Tour de Forest Off-Road Rally. We've got about 30 race entrants right now, and we're up to about 51 volunteer hams with 100 volunteers in total. We can always use more hams. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Devin. Okay, last call. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, do we have a motion? You got it? And Scott seconds. All those in favor of adjourning, raise your hand. I think that's it for today. Thanks everybody for joining on Zoom and joining in person. And any questions as far as applications for membership? Feel free to ask somebody. Have a nice day and a weekend, and we'll see you next month. Thank you. Uh-oh.